Hi, I'm MJ from Lioness Publications. And today we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to do a session on Joe Rogan. Hmm, I bet you're thinking, who's Joe Rogan? Well, he is a podcaster. And up until about a year and a half ago, I also wasn't sure who he was. But he ended up interviewing Trump right before the election. And he was also in discussions to interview Kamala Harris, but they never could get together and get a time set up. So he has a substantial following, and I don't know too much about his following, but he is increasing his share, probably one of the more successful podcasters out there. So he is a normal type of person that has made a significant, contribution to, from his podcast, bringing all different types of people on. So let's take a look at Joe Rogan. And we're going to be looking at three charts. We're going to be looking at his transits, his progression, and his solar arc. Now, we're also going to take a look at maybe one or two little angles on his natal chart. We're not going to get into anything too detailed. Even though he's a celebrity, I do want to respect his privacy. So I don't want to go too far in that direction. So again, very careful on where we go here. Now, the charts are set up for September 1st, which is in about a week and a half from now. Now, on the natal chart, I want to bring up something that will be significant throughout his life. And that is he has a Sun Jupiter conjunction. Sun is at 18 degrees of Leo, and Jupiter is at 16 degrees Leo. Now, Leo, of course, likes to be out there, likes to be in control. And that pretty much is who he comes across as. Now, both Sun, who you are, and Jupiter, the opportunities, the ability to be creative with what you're given, is something that will be with him his entire life. But it may not be activated all the time. So when this is activated, it will be times that he can either move ahead significantly, or on the converse, that he may be very limited and actually lose position. Now, we also have Saturn, which is at 12 degrees Aries, and that is in a trine to the Jupiter at 16 Leo. Trine, great angle. What happens is very harmonious. The planets, in a way, can get along. Their energies can flow. So when we have Jupiter expansion, Saturn focus, it gives him a lot of business sense, a lot of ability to take advantage of opportunities, and also know when to focus. So in effect, he's not someone that goes and does 50 things. No, he's going to narrow it down to the things that are most successful. So he's going to be able to focus. So whenever one of these planets gets an angle, it's going to activate this. Now, whether it's going to be beneficial or it's going to be challenging depends on the angle and what planet comes along to do it. But this is pretty significant in someone's chart. And it's one of the reasons why he is making inroads into getting public recognition. And again, that's Leo, loves to be in the public, loves to be recognized. But he's also got some business sense here. Now, let's take a look first at some of the angles we're seeing in the transits. We have Pluto right down here, and it is making a square angle to both his south and north nodes. South node where we give out, north node where we take in. When we have any planet making an angle to the nodes, it's an indication that we're at a learning point in our life. That learning point depends on what planet it is, what that learning point is about. Since it's Pluto, I'm assuming here it's about control, or having someone manipulate him, or him manipulating something else. And what the learning point is that does he still do it in the same fashion, or does he move to a different plane? In effect, is he staying at the same level, or is he moving ahead? And this has to do with growth. It's a very karmic type of configuration. Now let's now take a look at Jupiter. And by the way, that angle is happening right now. So he's probably at some type of crossroad here saying, what should I do here? It could be maybe he wants to increase his business. So does he do the same thing or does he do something different? Okay. Now let's take a look at an angle that's going to be happening right around September. And that is Jupiter trine Neptune. The trine. Jupiter. Expansiveness, opportunities. Neptune. Now, we've talked about Neptune, and it can be elusive, imaginary, it's visionary, but it's also attractions. And this is very important. Neptune is important for people that are in the media. Neptune determines, whether people like you, whether you have that charisma, whether you have that magnetism that can draw audiences to you. Jupiter trining his Neptune, he's going to have an increase in audience here. He may be doing something different that is going to bring more viewers looking at him. Now, in this case, it's a trine, so hopefully it's a nice type of change or nice type of opportunity. Now, next, what we have, and this is coming up early next year, we have Pluto that is opposing Mercury. Now, Pluto, again, if it's a transit, you think of manipulation, control, power on you. Mercury, as part of his natal chart, is his speech, his thoughts. And what comes to my mind is that he may be going someplace in what he's talking about that is not liked by people in power. Or it could be that he is now starting to manipulate people. So this is something that's coming up next year, and it's an opposition, it's conflict. It could be, as I said, someone coming down on what he's saying, or maybe he is now moving in a different track with what he's saying. So maybe rather than trying to get people to converse nicely on his program, maybe he starts to get a little bit antagonistic to sort of drive the clicks up. We'll have to see. Now, the next thing we have, and this is right about the same time that Pluto is opposing Mercury, we have Neptune that's trining Mercury. So this is, again, Neptune, in this case, is the magnetism that's coming to what he's saying. So there is, I suspect, some change in how he's approaching things that's going to possibly bring more of an audience to him. And that'll be next year. Now let's take a look at the progression. Okay, progression has Mars square Pluto. And that was actually happening earlier this year. Mars, actions, Pluto, in effect, in this case, it's in his natal chart. We think of it more as being a foundation. So his foundation in life. So acts against his foundation. Now, this could be other people acting against it. It could be he himself making changes that are changing his foundation. It's a square. It's a tense angle. So in this case, it's something that is challenging. It is not easy. It's not harmonious. Could this be aggression? Maybe, again, his foundation could be, is he changing how he wants to be founded, in effect? Is he maybe bringing in more aggression? And this, unfortunately, could also indicate that maybe he might be more aggressive with his people that come on the show. Could be that someone is being more aggressive to him. Now, this was early this year, so it already happened. So it might be something to sort of think about, well, has he changed? So this could also have been other people coming in to say, you need to tone this down, or you need to change the show to be this way. So now let's take a look at the solar arc. Well, about 6 months ago, we had the Uranus actually making a square to the sun. What's Uranus? It's change. What's the sun? Who you are. So this is change coming to who he is. We don't know if this is change. Since I don't have an exact time of birth for him, I don't know whether this is change that he is initiating himself, or it could be change that's being initiated by the outside. It is a square, so it is not something that is easy. It's tense, it's stressful. But this does indicate changes. And this was about 6 months ago that this was occurring. Now, the last 2 months, we've had Jupiter opposing Saturn. Now, Jupiter is opportunities. Saturn is, in effect, focus. When it's in opposition, it's conflict. Jupiter would be excesses. Saturn is what? Restrictions. So, in effect, this could be business issues that are going on right now. Could be home issues, but I suspect it might be more business, where they're trying to move his podcast to a different level to attract more viewerships. So they're trying to identify whether they need to expand or whether they need to sort of hone in on their audience. So a lot of this is coming back and forth. This also comes into play with the Uranus square sun. It could be that there are suggestions that he needs to change. He needs to change who he is to get a bigger audience. So next thing, let's take a look at Neptune. Neptune is going to be an inconjunct to the sun. And this is going to be late this year. So in this case, Neptune illusion, it is that magnetism we have, can be scandals, can be rumors against his sun, who he is. I suspect that something may be coming out later this year, maybe something that's been hidden, that contradicts what he appears to be. Now, inconjuncts are quick. They sort of break and then they just sort of, you break and adjust. So break and you move on. So in this case, it's not something that would be, earth shattering, but something that could sort of say, oh, people would say, oh, really? Him? So just something to keep in mind. This is later this year. Now, in about a year, we have Pluto. Where's my Pluto? It's going to be squaring Jupiter. Pluto, manipulation, control, Jupiter, where his opportunities are coming from. This is likely that, and again, forces might be coming down. Either him or someone else would be manipulating or controlling him. This is a stressful angle, and it, in effect, is limiting his opportunities. Could be that maybe podcast needs to change. Could be, some censure on what he's saying. But this is going to be happening in about a year. So something that would probably be disconcerting when it happens. Now, also in about a year, we're going to have Neptune that's going to be trining Pluto. So Neptune is here to Pluto. Great angle. So Neptune, and again, I'm looking at his media sense. So this is going to evolve more into what? His foundation, into who he is. So we may start seeing more of who he is in this media presence that he has. And it becomes more growth. Not growth. It becomes more mature. So it could be that we turn a corner as to where he is on his media presence and he moves up a notch or two. Now, we also have, in about a year and a half, Venus over here is going to be conjuncting Mars. Ah, great. What does this mean? A lot of magnetism, possibly public recognition, increased audience. So Venus coming onto Mars, you want to watch him. Even though you may not agree with him, he's going to say it in such a way that you're saying, okay, well, that's, you're still okay with it. So I expect at this time that his audience would significantly increase. It's also, again, he would be magnetic. You just want to watch him. Maybe he changes his shows such that he brings more audience in. Now, in this case, let's just recap here. Now, why did I do him? Because he's someone that I think will have a voice. He has a voice, he reaches some people, and not many people know about him. So maybe it's someone that you want to watch occasionally. He also is pretty much a normal guy that, he didn't come, he's sort of a self-made person. And, he has opinions that he expresses. So I thought it would be interesting to cover someone like this. Again, we didn't get too in depth. We did sort of an overall, look at the forest and not the individual trees. But we're looking at someone that has some great potential coming up. And that's what I wanted to show you, that astrology can help. When you're looking at moving ahead, you can find out where the minefields are to avoid them and, in effect, prepare for them and be able to move on quicker afterwards. Hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching.